This is the Russian Dynamite, Masha Slamovich.
Becca here.
This is Not America's Sweetheart, Davian. And
It's Billy Starks. And
the super fly guy, Trayvon Jordan.
This is the fly side flyer, Jalen Brandon.
Hardcore Princess, Jules Malone.
Hi there, this is the Bubblegum Princess, Alexia Nicole.
This is the Brazilian Wonder Woman, Christy Jane.
This is the baddest black belt, Chennai Kai.
This is Kid Bandit.
The smash hit Joel Bateman.
This is Robin Renegade.
Cody Hawk.
Brutal Bob Evans. And you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment, one of my favorite podcasts in the whole wide world.
Hi, my name is Chelsea the Mother, and you're listening to Wrestling with Entertainment.
Hello, and welcome to the show. It's Wrestling with Entertainment, the only audio experience on the web today, the trusted choice for interviewing all your favorite wrestlers every Tuesday and Wednesday on YouTube and Castbox, sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. I'm, of course, your host, James J., and it's a great day for wrestling, because we are wrestling with Chelsea the Mother.
That was a wonderful introduction. Thank you.
Absolutely. We like to do it big here on Wrestling With. Can you tell us what you got coming up event-wise?
Yeah, so there's a couple big events that I've got coming up. The one that I'm most excited about that's actually happening in just 2 days is sorry, my dog is barking. You know how dogs are.
We've had
that I'm most excited about is in Mayfield, Kentucky, and this show's going to be Thursday, June 12th. It is going to be at the Jackson Purchase Medical Center. And there's going to be just a lot of really great wrestlers there. Jerry the King Lawler is going to be there. Tommy Rich is going to be there. Doug Gilbert's going to be there. And then a couple of my friends from NWA, Jeremiah Plunkett, Alex Taylor, Mims, Big Strong Mims is going to be there. Magic Jake Dumas. And myself, I'm going to be there. So it's going to be a really great show. I'm really excited for this.
Oh, yeah. And where can we find you on social media and your merchandise?
So all of my social medias are the same all across the board. You can find me at Chelsea Lyons, Lyons, Cle for Cleveland, CLE. And I keep it the same. Instagram, Facebook, TikTok. It's the same for everything.
Perfect. And merchandise?
So I'm currently working on t-shirts out. I didn't have any yet because I was in the middle of changing kind of who I was. I was still trying to find who I was in the ring and everything and what I wanted to do and the designs that I wanted to give. So I'm working on t-shirts. They will be ready shortly, though.
Perfect. And you don't have to go looking for it. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox. Alright, let's get into it. You work for Exodus Pro Midwest and Divine Pro Wrestling. Can you tell us about your relationship with those companies?
So yeah, I love what I do up here in Cleveland. So Exodus Pro we are an NWA territory, and right now I'm doing some stuff in the background with them, but I have been working with these guys, training with them day in, day out, almost 2 years now, and they really have just helped me evolve into a much more confident and all-around better professional wrestler. So they really have helped make me, the wrestler that I am today. I give them a lot of props, but of course I also give props to where I got my start at JPWA, Jacobs Pritchard's Wrestling Academy in Knoxville, Tennessee. And that's ran by Glenn Jacobs, aka Kane, and of course the fabulous Dr. Tom Pritchard. Again, I would not be where I'm at today in my career if it wasn't for either organization. You know, I owe a lot to Dr. Tom as well. He taught me how to do my first lockup. I mean, I went in there completely green. I had never wrestled a day in my life, and he taught me all the basics. So yeah, they're great. They're both wonderful.
Now, when Glenn Jacobs comes for training sessions, do things just spontaneously set on fire?
Not really. The times he was there, it was more he kind of watches and observes. With my class, he was more watching and observing more than anything. It's definitely more like Dr. Tom that helps kind of lead the pack over there.
All right. Well, you mentioned, working behind the scenes for, NWA. You actually was very much in the forefront of a segment with one Billy Corgan, where he actually put you over pretty greatly. Can you tell us about that segment and that experience with Billy?
Oh my goodness, that night was, there's only a few nights you have in your life where you're like, I am never going to forget this night, and that night was one of them. That was our Exodus show that we had called Double Down. It was the night we announced that we were in NWA territory. Billy Corgan was there in the house. I had a match against Tiffany Nieves, and she, cheated a little bit, but a lot of people were not happy with the outcome of that match, but Billy watched everything about that match. And even though I got cheated out of the win, he made sure to come out and pretty much, hold up my hand and put me over and was like, even though she didn't get the win, she's still getting the win. You know what I mean?
Right.
And that feeling, I mean, I cried. I am not going to lie. I mean, you would cry too. I was in front of the ring, and I'm in front of hundreds of people, and Billy Corgan's holding my hand up in the air, and yeah, I cried.
Is that a moment you took in the moment, or is that something that kind of set in afterwards? Like, wow, that happened.
Oh, it definitely set in afterwards, because when you're wrestling, so many things that are so many times unpredictable things can happen. So you're in almost this fight or flight mode, and your adrenaline's going, and you go with the flow and the way things happen. So yes, it definitely caught me by surprise when he came out and did what he did. But also 5-6 hours later, I'm back home. I'm laying in bed trying to fall asleep. I'm unwinding, and you're running through everything in your head, and that also can be when it really hits you. Like, holy cow, this actually happened. Like, this monumental point in my career happened tonight. And like, Billy Corgan knows who I am. Not only does he know who I am, but he's out there holding my hand up in front of all these people and pointing at me and giving me hugs. And yeah, so at the time when it happens, it's surprising, and you are just kind of going with it, because you're so used to just going with things that happen out there. But holy cow, when you get home and you actually really sit down and think about it and it sinks in, you're right, it hits you a second time. Like, it hits differently.
was that not planned prior? That just kind of
No.
That happened naturally.
That part was not planned prior. I had zero idea that was going to happen. The only thing that we had planned that night was we knew Tiffany was going to come out not being the nicest, and we had a feeling that she was going to get a little snappy with Billy. And I had been working backstage with NWA at that point for about a year. So I had been helping them with merch, set up and tear down the ring. I'd been traveling around with them. And at that time, Tiffany was just coming in. So it's like, you're not going to talk to Billy like that in front of me. You're not going to treat him like that. You just came here. You're not going to come in with this attitude, and you're not going to treat Billy like that in my hometown. So everything that happened at the end of that match was complete. None of that. It took me by surprise because none of it was planned. It was just like, holy cow. My mom was there. My mom watched it happen. So it was a really cool moment.
That's awesome. Your mom was there for that moment as well.
Yeah, it was. She doesn't get a chance to make it to a lot of my shows because I do travel so much, and she has a hard time traveling to some of the longer distance shows. So it's always nice when we have shows that are right here in Cleveland that, you know, if she has the night off of work, she'll come. And that was one of the first shows that she ever made it to. And of course, you know, the show that she makes it to, Billy Corgan sitting there holding my hand up right in front of her. It's just like crazy.
I could maybe imagine that she doesn't know all things pro wrestling, but she at least knows who Smashing Pumpkins is, right?
Yes, exactly. She knew she knew Smashing Pumpkins and who Billy Corgan was way before she knew anything even about NWA or wrestling or anything like that. I've been educating her.
Well, from good times to maybe not so good times, your debut on NWA TV was against a one Max the Impaler. You know, obviously a big name in NWA. Can you tell us about that match?
Yeah, I can, if you want to bring it up. We'll talk about the night I almost died. Sure, let's go for it. It was scary, but you know, I learned a lot from that match. So the idea was I was Miss Starr's assistant for a little bit, and and I say a little bit because Miss Starr was not the nicest to me. So I was Miss Starr's assistant for a little bit, and I did a lot for Miss Starr, and I did a lot to try to help her. And her way of thanking me was getting me a match, or so she said. That's how she wanted to paint it. Like, hey, I'm doing you a favor, I got you a match. But really, it was this match against Max the Impaler, and I'm terrified, and she's chasing me around, and they're chasing me around this match, and I look over and I see Miss Starr kind of like behind the scenes just laughing, and it's like, I'm glad you find this funny because I did not feel like in any way was I prepared for a match like that. But you know, I got through it. I survived. I'm here to tell the tale, and at least I can say I survived a round with Max the Impaler, and Father James Mitchell was out there, which was cool because even though they were against me, it still was a cool moment to have him ringside for a match. You know, as terrifying as it was, I got through it.
I mean, you could say that you competed for the World Women's Television title as well. So there's that too.
Yeah. And you know what? I'm going to tell you something. I'm not done. I was younger at that time. I was greener at that time. I was naive and I was unsuspecting. And ever since then, that was a pivotal point in my career because it taught me, one, that I can't trust people, and two, that I need to put my head down and work. And that is what I have been doing nonstop ever since. I've been working to get better. I've been working so that if a situation like that ever happens again, I know how to properly handle it. So yeah, it might have been a setup. It might have been whatever, or a chance at this title, this TV title, but now I'm more ready than I have ever been. And I am prepared one day in the future to go back and actually legitimately go after that title.
And maybe round 2 with Max the Impaler as well.
Well, if you don't know, La Princesa Tiffany Nieves is currently holding that television title. The same Tiffany Nieves that cheated me out of a match in front of Billy Corgan. So I just might have a little bit of a reason to consider going after that.
The stories write themselves.
They really do.
But, you mentioned, just getting started and not being done. We almost never do this, but after your first match in pro wrestling, you almost decided to quit, no?
I did, because when something like that happens to you, you kind of start to reevaluate everything. I'm like, I'm not big and scary like Max or like some of these other wrestlers. And I feel like I choked up a little bit. And that kind of stuff does make you reevaluate, do I want to do this? Is this truly meant for me? You know what I mean? It's like, but then you think about it, and instead of running away from it, it crosses your mind for a second, but that's all it is. It's an intrusive thought. And then it goes away. You don't give into it. You put it in the back of your mind and you ignore it. And yeah, I did have my time that I wanted to quit, but I think every professional wrestler out there will tell you at one point in their life, they thought about quitting after a stint of bad luck. But I'll tell you the other thing about the business. With every stint of bad luck, you're going to get a stint of good luck following right behind it. And that's going to lead me into, I've got some really big news, because my stint of good luck is happening right now.
Hell yeah. I mean, you just mentioned, you're going to be on the card with Jerry the King Lawler.
Oh, that is a match that I have coming up, yes. But I have to ask you, have you heard of Afterglow yet?
Afterglow, I remember Glow, but I don't think
Right.
I've heard of Afterglow.
Perfect. So this is the perfect time to talk about it. So Glow, everyone knows, Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, really big back in the day. Glow is making a comeback, and it is called Afterglow, and it is ran by original Glow girl Roxy Astor, and they are putting together a kick-ass roster. Gorgeous Ladies of Wrestling, baby. And it was just announced that I made the cut to be part of that roster. I'm very excited. We're going to be doing tapings in Las Vegas starting in December. And they have already a plan for an entire season 1. for the revamp. It's Afterglow, and I am so ecstatic to be part. It's like history in the making. So you're hearing about this before it's even happened yet. It's gonna be really awesome. I'm excited to see what comes from this.
That's awesome. And it's even in my neck of the woods. A 4-hour drive from Los Angeles to Las Vegas.
Really? Well, hey, you're gonna have to come and visit me, and we're gonna have to meet in person then. When we're down there taping, December 5th, mark it down right now. I expect to see you there December 5th. I'll get you a t-shirt.
I will definitely try and make my way up there for sure. I might actually even be there.
You have plenty of notice.
Yeah, I definitely do. I'm sure tickets for that isn't going to be as quite expensive as WrestleMania tickets this year.
I wouldn't think so. I don't know how much WrestleMania tickets cost, but I definitely don't think you're gonna have to take out a second mortgage to go to the show.
Yeah, I mean nosebleeds were $500 each for each night.
Yeah, that's a pretty penny there.
But yeah, that sounds like an incredible opportunity. Do you know if it's going to be taped, recorded, where it's going to be put?
That has not been announced yet, so I cannot talk about that yet. So the best I can give you is to just follow the Afterglow social medias, and you will see when it is announced.
Perfect. Definitely check out Afterglow for more information on that.
Yes, yep. If you just type Afterglow into like your Facebook search bar, you'll see the event come up. We're doing a fan fest in August in Michigan. That's going to be, we're going to be wrestling there. We're going to be meeting everyone who is just really excited for the comeback of this amazing brand.
Just out of curiosity, have you seen Glow on Netflix?
I have, yes.
That I liked season 2 had probably had my favorite. Was it season 2? Yeah, season 2 probably had the best episode where it was just. It wasn't about them. It was about their gimmicks and the storyline. It was like an actually produced wrestling episode.
And you know what? That also highlights what we have already been talking about too, that, at some point, regardless of if they show it or not, every professional wrestler faces their own set of challenges, and they face their own set of problems. And I would confidently say they are lying if they tell you they haven't ever thought about quitting before. But the ones who stick to it, put their head down, keep the hard work, those are the ones that you see it pay off for. So, and that show does a great job of highlighting that, in my opinion.
Oh yeah. It's not, unfortunately, there's not a lot of media that depicts pro wrestling in a positive light. And that was one of the shows that actually, depicted pro wrestling positively. So I always appreciated that about the show.
Yeah, it shows the side of it that we all love, like the reason why we do what we do.
Right. Now, before you were Chelsea the Mother, there was Celeste. Can you tell us about Celeste?
Oh, I miss Celeste. I had a lot of fun being Celeste. Celeste the best. And don't mess with Celeste. I mean, there's so many ways to rhyme that name. Celeste was bubblegum baby face, and she was this moon queen who believed in the universe and worked with the stars, and I had moon on my gear and all this good stuff. And she kind of showed the side of me that used to be a cheerleader. Before I was a wrestler, I was a competitive cheerleader where we'd throw people up in the air, we'd flip around, we'd go to competitions, perform in front of thousands of people. And Celeste essentially was that cheerleader turned into a professional wrestler. And that's why she was very bubblegummy. She was heavy baby face, tumbled a lot in the ring, rolled around a lot. But Celeste also got walked all over because she was naive, so bubbly and nice. You know, it was a very easy bait for some people. And that is why, you know, I kind of did a change, a rebrand, because I loved Celeste. I thought she was very fun, and I'm talking like, you know, Celeste is a whole different person here, but I felt like a whole different person when I was Celeste, you know, like I felt like Chelsea 10 years ago. Like I felt like I was that young teenager again. But at a point that needs to go. Like if you want to take it serious and you want to go somewhere and you're playing this, you know, or you are just this kind of gibbly, bubbly, naive person that's getting walked all over, the world's gonna get rid of that. And you know, they say every villain has a point in their life when they decided that they're going to become a villain, that they had this shift, things happen to them, and it changes their thought process. And I'm not necessarily saying I'm a villain now, but I'm saying my mentality of things and the way I approach things are completely different these days.
Well, speaking of, you know, a different gimmick, there was that one time you was a Star Child, no?
It kind of all was Celeste. It was like leading into Celeste. I was still trying to find her, so it kind of all was the same thing.
No, I mean there was one match where you had Kiss's Star Child makeup.
Oh, Kiss's Star. I see what you're saying. I thought we were talking about how Celeste was like the star queen, whatever. No, yeah. So that actually that's a really fun. I'm glad you brought that up. So, before I got into wrestling, I worked in radio, like as my real life job. And I have worked in radio for 13 years. Only up until very, very recently did I stop working in radio. So while I was there, we worked with a charity event that is pretty big here in Cleveland. They put on a big charity event every year, and it's a Kiss themed charity event. So it's all themed after the rock band Kiss. And they have musicians from all over Cleveland will come in and they play different Kiss songs to raise money for charity. And when we started Exodus about 2.5 years ago, I was like, we have got to join this charity event. You know, not only is it Kiss themed, not only are there a ton of people there, but you're doing it for a good cause. And you know, there was no reason to not mix wrestling with rock and roll at this point, because Billy Corgan is our boss. So like, like, you know what I mean? So we talked to the guy who I had worked with at the station who ran the charity event, and he loved the idea of having wrestling there. So this year, going into it, July 21st will be our 3rd year being there. And last year I got so into it because the rockers, the singers, the musicians, they get on stage and they're dressed in full Kiss gimmick. So, hello, why can't I be? Like, I'm a wrestler. I want to be in full Kiss gimmick. So we did a mixed tag team, and my tag team partner, Sebastian, we went and we painted our face. We went full Kiss. I found two guys with a motorcycle. I had this idea of having an entrance on a motorcycle to the ring because that's cool. Like, hello, Undertaker. And I went up to the bar, and there's just this bar full of random people, and I said, hey, who has a motorcycle? And a bunch of guys turned around and looked at me and put their hand up, and I said, who wants to be part of a wrestling show? And this one guy was like, oh, I totally do. So they had nice bikes, like these really nice, like bright orange Harley Davidsons, and him and his friend pulled their bikes around behind the ring, and when it was our time to go on, we jumped on the back of these motorcycles. They're blasting Detroit Rock City from Kiss, and we entered on the back of motorcycles to this Kiss music dressed like rock stars. And it was just one of those moments that was fun, and I wish it would have been more caught on camera because I don't think we could ever recreate that. It was natural, and it was really fun, and it was for a good cause. I mean, we raised collectively, the whole charity, about I think $22,000. So and it went to the Alzheimer's Association. So it went to a great cause, and we were out there helping raise money and having fun while we were doing it. So it was great. I'm really excited to do it again this year.
Was that kind of like a full circle moment, so to speak? Because like it kind of connected your suit life with your wrestling life?
It 100% was, because I had been interviewing and working with that charity for 5 years prior to us wrestling there. So I got really excited once I felt like we had something to offer to bring to the charity event to help expand it. Because, like, I'm not a musician, so I couldn't join in that part of it, but I can bring wrestling. And now we can get wrestling fans coming out and helping raise money for this as well, So it definitely was a full circle moment. When I had been working with them for so long and seeing the reactions of even the people who are owning and putting on this event, how excited they were. Like, they came and watched the show and they were just like, whoa, this is cool. It was great.
Now, speaking of tag team partners, you actually got to team with Heath Slater, Heath as he's called now. Obviously a big part of WWE for quite some time. What was that experience like, teaming with him?
Oh, it was great. Heath was awesome. From the moment he got there, through the locker room, nothing but professionalism. We had the crowd just went crazy for us, you know what I mean? And he helped me kind of get my justice, my comeuppance to some people who deserved it. Because like I said, at that time, I was still Celeste. And people walked all over Celeste. So there were, a few people who were just not being the nicest to me. And Heath kind of came in and saved the day. He helped me. The two of us teamed up together, and we really kind of just shut him down and shut him out. And I haven't really seen or heard from him since.
Seems like if you need a tag team partner again, he might be showing up as well.
Yeah, well, we were laughing because I wasn't charactering as the mother yet, but I was, working on it and thinking about the change already, and was talking to Heath about it and how he does the, I've got kids, he's got kids, and I was like, well, I'm the mother, I've got kids too, and I'm like, so there definitely, in the future could be could be something coming from that.
And you come with all your kids, and like there's like 10, 15, 20, like an army of children behind you.
And they just storm the ring.
No, we like the workshop here on Wrestling Wit. You did actually get to work for TNA backstage as well. What was that experience like?
I did. That experience was amazing. I got that opportunity when I was just out. It started when I was still training with JPWA, and it actually kind of all stemmed like a ripple effect. I had done my first backstage job with NWA, and there were people back there who had worked at NWA, who also did extras work with TNA and kind of helped find crew for that. So, you never know who's going to be at a show. You really have no idea who's going to be where. So I had worked so hard. Like there were a group of us who had made an impression at that NWA show backstage, where they came up to me and were like, "Hey, would you be interested in working Slammiversary? It's coming through Nashville." And it was the 20th anniversary. It was a big deal. So I was like, "Oh my God, yes." So like we drove to Nashville to do Slammiversary, me and two other people who I had trained with that had also got hired on, and we got to do all the backstage, extras work with TNA, and we got to, see the surprise guest and meet them. And I remember I got to go pick up talent from the airport. I got to pick up Taya Valkyrie, and that was cool. And I had to go to the store and like buy beer, and that was the night I met Matt Taven and got to kind of talk with them a little bit. And it was just a really good work-wise networking, working event all around. And that led to a couple other jobs where, I went whenever TNA was kind of local and in the area, worked with them on some other shows as well. So that, has got me a pretty good, what's the word for it? I don't know if repertoire is the word, but, I've got a pretty... Yeah. I've got some friends there, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I love working backstage with them. It was always, I learned so much, like the ins and outs of how to properly set up and tear down a ring, and, things that you need to get ready for some of the bigger pay-per-views. I mean, I worked a pay-per-view with them where we took the ropes down or we put barbed wire around the ropes, where it was a death match with Sami Callihan, and there were barbed wire around the ropes, and like I was some of the people setting that up, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is insane. Like it's just insane. And then they prepare you, they're like, okay, as soon as this match is over, you got to get out there, and you've got like 2 minutes to clean this up max, and you're just like in mass cleanup mode, trying to clean stuff up as quickly as possible. You're shoving broken tables under the ring, you're pulling off like top layer of the canvas, trying to get the ring reset. You're trying to take this barbed wire off, or you got these gloves on and hoping it's not going to cut your arm open. Like, it was definitely an experience, but it was a great experience, and I would love to go back and work with them anytime they're around, for sure.
But it sounds like there's no desire to do any hardcore or death matches in the future.
Not for me, honey. My face is too pretty. I am not gonna go do a death match where someone's gonna purposely try and mess up my moneymaker. Okay, we're not doing that.
You mentioned, driving with Tara Valkyrie. I can imagine that wasn't like a major learning experience, considering, who she is.
Oh yeah, I mean, really, it was just a ride from the airport. But you get a chance to talk when you're in the car and everything. But I wasn't trying to mark out too much, because it was one of my first times working on a big show like that with big talent outside of training. So I was very nervous. I think if I had asked questions and talked, that she would have talked back, but I was almost nervous too, so I just kind of was quiet and drove. I'm just gonna mind my business and get her to the show.
Well, you was in an extra segment for TNA as well. I want to say you were a bartender during a Brian Myers segment.
I did a few different segments with Brian Myers where they had us as extras. I've been in a few different extras segments with TNA, and even when Mia Yim was there, I got to be one of the dancers for her entrance. So we had these really cool masks we put on, and everything went dark, and we had it was these neon purge style masks, and we're moving and doing all these creepy crawly dance moves, and then she came out and was like bam, and oh, that was cool. Then we ran off the stage as fast as possible after she bammed, but I got a chance to do a lot of really cool things like that when I was working with TNA.
All right. Well, that's a great segue into Chelsea's bizarre adventure. You're a pro wrestler in the pro wrestling world, and weird, crazy, and bizarre things are bound to happen. Can you tell us a road story that fits that description?
Oh boy. Well, let me think here. Road stories that aren't going to get people in trouble. I'll leave names out.
Okay.
I will not say names.
We're protecting the innocent for now.
Yes, I will not say names. But we all have our road stories. Where we were, I don't even know how to tell this story without giving it away. I was with a company, and we were in a city. and we had finished taping after a big 2-3 day long stint, and we were wrapping up, and we were getting ready to go to the next city the next day for essentially the second half of things. And we would go out afterwards and kind of hang out, and we were, I guess I could give the city away. We were in New Orleans.
Okay.
We were in New Orleans, and I had never been to New Orleans before. And I had a lot of fun going out with the group of everybody. But as the night went on, we did New Orleans stuff, and we had some of those grenade drinks, and a group of us ended up in the Alley Cat karaoke singing, and another group ended up in one of the salsa bars, and me and my friend, her and I, were over there, and this guy comes up to us, and he starts like very heavily flirting with me, and his friend starts flirting with her, and he's talking to me. He's like, "Oh, señorita, what's your name?" And you give him a fake name because I'm not dealing with this. But he was like, he's like, "I buy you whatever you want, señorita." And then so he goes to get me a drink, but he makes his friend come over and pay for it. And then he starts trying to dance. He gets a little too close, and I'll say the guy's name because no one, he has no connection with anything. His name was Carlos, and one of the other like wrestlers comes in, and he's like, "What are you girls doing? Get out of here!" And he like grabbed us and pulled us away from Carlos and these other guys. And it was funny because like it was like a movie. As he's pulling us away, he's like, "Señorita," with his arm out trying to get us. So we end up going to a different part on Bourbon Street, and the girl I was with, we end up losing her because she's like, "Oh, I'm gonna go look for this wrestler and talk to him," and she just takes off running down the street. Before I know it, she's gone. So me and a couple of the guys were walking around. We're trying to find her, and I end up running into Carlos again at a different bar. And this time I was a few drinks in, and the guys were like in the bathrooms trying to find my friend. And I'm like dancing with Carlos, and they come out, and they're just like, "Oh my God, no, stay away from Carlos." So, we lost my friend. We ended up finding her. We found the other wrestler, and there were, at this time of the night, some of the guys had started losing their shirts because you know how wrestlers are, and they're drinking and they're flexing and they're getting their beads, and we're getting a group of girls following us around, and I'm like, okay, it's time to go home now at this point. Like it would have been an episode on like a reality show if there were cameras there, like 100%. Definitely like one of those nights. And then we go to try to leave, and the Uber can't find us. The Uber cancels, and we're like stuck on Bourbon Street. Eventually we get back to the hotel, but it was fun. But it was one of those nights that were just like, it was just like everything just kept happening. Like just things just kept happening that whole night. It was funny.
And I do have maybe an educated guess when it comes to who some of those wrestlers was.
I am not going to say who.
Maybe I'll give you my guess off air.
Okay.
Because you said karaoke bar, and my mind knows who was in a karaoke bar in New Orleans from stories I've heard.
Well, if you know some of the personalities of some of the roster of a certain company, then you could probably put two and two together of who we were out with that night. But we had a lot of fun. We were out with a good group of people, and they definitely showed me New Orleans. It was, for the first time being there, I was with the right people, except Carlos.
Carlos is sounding more like Pepe Le Pew.
A little bit.
Speaking of bizarre adventures, you were almost arrested at an airport, no?
Man, you really did some digging, didn't you?
Yes.
Oh, I love it. This is one of the best podcasts I've ever done because you're just hitting every highlight of my life. Yes, I was almost arrested at an airport. It's a funny story. I was coming back from Florida, and we travel a lot. We're wrestlers. We fly a lot. And my brother got me this, how they have those neck pillows when you fly, right? So my brother was like, "Oh, hey, this would be nice for you when you travel. It'll help you relax." And it was like, instead of being filled with foam, it was filled with like clay beads that were infused with lavender. So it was like an aromatherapy neck wrap. And it said that it was safe to take on airplanes. So I left Cleveland Hopkins, went to Florida, no problem. I had it with me, used it on the flight. It was great. I'm on my way back. And of course, Orlando MCO, all of a sudden I'm coming through and they stop me. TSA stops me and they pull me aside. And they're like, "Ma'am, we need to search your stuff." And I'm like, "Why?" Because I literally just came through TSA like 2 days ago and everything was fine, whatever. So they're searching my stuff and this starts taking a minute. Like I start getting stressed that I'm going to miss my flight. And I'm like, what is the problem here? And like, nobody's talking to me. Nobody's telling me what's wrong. And like another person shows up and another person shows up and they pull out my neck wrap and they start scanning it and they're swabbing it and they're inspecting it. And I'm like, it's just a neck wrap. It's clay beads. It's aromatherapy. And then I told the guy, I was like, can't you just throw it away? And like, it's not even that big of a deal. I'll get another one. Like, I'm just going to leave. It's fine. And they wouldn't let me leave. And they thought that I was trying to smuggle drugs through my neck wrap. And they had security come up behind me and like prevent me from walking away. I was legitimately afraid that I was going to miss my flight because they thought that this aromatherapy neck wrap was drugs and that I'm trying to smuggle drugs from Florida to Cleveland. And I was like, it's just aromatherapy. And they were like, ma'am, you're going to have to stop right there, ma'am. You okay? Ma'am, you can't leave. And they told me if I left that I would be arrested because it was suspicious, like I was trying to abandon my drugs. And I was like, I'm really just trying to not miss my flight. And it's aromatherapy. But I learned, I threw that thing in the garbage. I am never taking another neck wrap anything to the airport ever. I don't even want a neck pillow. I'm not doing it.
I mean, they smell good, but I don't think that they smell quite that good, if you know what I mean.
Right, that's what I'm saying. I'm like, you know, imagine being 20,000 feet in the air and you got a nice lavender scent. You pass out, you get your face mask, like your little sleeping mask on. That's the way to fly. No, apparently people from Florida don't think you having a little bit of a luxurious flight.
Well, prior to wrestling, you mentioned that you were in radio for 13 years.
Mm-hmm.
What was that like? And how did it help you in pro wrestling?
It was great. I still love radio. I wish I had more time for it in my life, but because my wrestling career is picking up, I was traveling so much that I literally could not dedicate the proper time for work. Like I had to keep calling off, and I was like, you know what? I'm just going to step away for a little bit to focus on wrestling. But I loved it, and it helped me tenfold. I mean, I see a lot of people, you know, get handed a microphone and they freeze up. They get nervous, which is totally understandable because that's a big deal. But with radio, I'm so used to just working on the fly with it, you know, just spitting out the information and getting it to where, like, getting the information across that it helps my promos tenfold. Like I can whip out promos. I'm comfortable working cameras, and I feel like that's what helped me get some of the opportunities that I have already gotten this early on in my career, because where I'm still green in the ring, on camera and on a microphone, I'm very confident, and I can essentially, as they would say, work it, you know, where some people get nervous and freeze up or get in their head about it. I am very, very comfortable in that setting of things. So it's definitely helped me.
Well, there was one time when I believe Eddie Money called you cute.
He did. I was working on a morning show, and it was right before he passed away. Eddie Money was doing a new reality show, and he called into the radio station, and we were doing an interview live, like with cameras and stuff. And he was promoting his new reality show, and he called me cute quite a few times, and I was like, wow, if Eddie Money thinks I'm cute, then I'm good. I can tackle the world. We're good.
But you're doing voice acting right now, as well, no?
Yep, I do voice acting. So even though I'm not in radio anymore, I do some voice acting. I do regular acting also on a regular basis. I'm some characters and some live. It's not necessarily theater. It's like live improv. We're categorized as a theme park, even though we don't have roller coasters. So whatever that means.
Okay.
But yes, it's very easy for me to pop in and out of accents and to find a character and to kind of get into one quite easily, my dear. You know, honey, Aunt Cammy always likes to say a glass of eggnog a day keeps the doctor away. You know, so yes, I do some voice acting as well.
That was actually very good. Like if you would have paused and like came back, like I would have thought that was somebody different.
Oh, I thank you, sweetheart. You're just flattering me at this point, aren't you?
So, what has been your biggest role for voice acting as of now?
The biggest one I would say would be the character I just did, Aunt Chamomile. She is a character with Kringle's Inventionasium. She works in the land of the North, and she is my favorite character. I did a second character with them called Taffy Saltwater, or Taffy Saltwater, reporting for duty here. She's a more excited, more energetic kind of reporter who's always trying to get the scoop on everything. She's got a little bit of a list, but you know, I really found like I came into my own with Aunt Chamomile, because you know she's a little bit, she's an adult character, and you know you can have a lot more fun with adult characters if you're picking up what I'm putting down, sweetheart. You know, you can't talk about drinking eggnog with a 17-year-old character that you're playing. So I would definitely say Aunt Chamomile has been my favorite, and she's become a fan favorite too. People will come up to me and talk about Aunt Chamomile, which is really a huge compliment to me, because when I started Aunt Chamomile, she was not a huge part of the script. She wasn't a huge part of a lot of things. She was kind of just like a backup character, and I really helped her grow into something. I helped her become, you know, the loved aunt character that she is today. You know, I kind of modeled her after the drunken aunt at a Christmas party that you're sneaking off with, you know, to sip her eggnog away from grandma. Like, that's kind of how I modeled her. And I feel like a lot of the people, you know, I'm always like, oh, I'm the fun aunt. And like, you could tell the fun aunts in the room, because they're like, oh, me too. And I'm like, yeah, that's my people, honey. Like, so yeah, she's definitely my favorite character that I've played.
The voice, is that something that they directed you, like we want it to be this way, or was it something that you kind of developed by just, you know, being the character?
It was kind of something that I implemented with it, because there was somebody else who played that character before me, and she did a little bit of that, but not a lot. And I really felt like I would see success with the character if I accentuated on that, if I made that more. So where, you know, the person who had played Aunt Cammy before, when she was kind of just like, you know, this background character, did a little bit of that. But once I was given the task of taking her on, I really wanted to bring Aunt Cammy up and out into the spotlight. And I felt like with a more dramatic voice, a louder voice that almost commands attention, you can do that, because you hear that voice and instantly you're paying attention whether you want to or not, because it's so loud you have to hear it. Like, you can't really get away from it. So that was kind of my goal, was you know, I was thinking of what's her name from Friends, Janice, how she's like Chandler Bing. Like, she is that kind of character. She commands attention. You know, she's loud and obnoxious, and people know who she is whether you like her or not, you know. So that was my goal with Aunt Chamomile, was we're gonna do that. We're gonna command attention one way or another, you know, and it worked. So
all right. Now, can you tell us if there is any meaning behind your tattoo?
which tattoo? I've got a few of them. Which one are we thinking of?
Whatever one you want to elaborate on.
Well, the one on my foot is the most special. That's a memorial tattoo for my aunt. Being real for a second, you know, because everybody faces things in their life. My dad was never really in my life growing up. So my aunt, my great aunt, kind of stepped in and acted like that parent figure for me. She was my second mom, you know. She was dad, my aunt was. And when I was 17, she had a stroke, and I was there bedside. I watched her pass away, and it was really hard for me at that time to cope with that. It was the first big loss I've ever experienced in my life, and one of the only ways that I could come to terms with it was, you know, everything happens for a reason. We don't always know the reason, but there's a reason somewhere, some way, you know. So the point behind that tattoo, it's God makes no mistakes, because there was a reason that she was called home that day, you know. And it's got her favorite flower with it. We would always send lilies to each other because they were her favorite flower. We'd send them to her, she'd send them to me, my mom would send them to her, we'd send to each other. So it was kind of, it has the flower on it and then the quote for her, and that's kind of like my memorial to her.
That's beautiful. That's really fantastic.
Yeah, it helped me, you know, kind of get through it. And when I look down at it, I, you know, can think of her and remember her and remember the flowers and, you know, all the positive stuff to it.
Right. Do you have any plans to get more tattoos?
Well, if I had money, baby, I'd be inked up. I do. I want to get a phoenix. I want to get a big phoenix right on my thigh, because there's just been a lot of things in my life that should have knocked me down, that should have counted me out, that I you know, should not be where I'm at today if I had given into the things that tried to stop me. And that's the symbol of the phoenix. You rise from the ashes. Like, you tried to burn my world down, but I took those ashes and built something new and better and bigger and stronger. And we're coming back stronger every single time. So that would be the significance of the Phoenix. And if you ever see me one day rocking a Phoenix on my thigh, you know I finally managed to get $600 to get it.
All right. I am asking this out of pure curiosity, but do you still own a PlayStation 1?
Oh my gosh, I do. I have a PlayStation 1 and a PlayStation 2.
You know we're on 5 now, right?
Well, but the PlayStation 2 plays games from the PlayStation 1, and I've got some of the classics. I've got Crash Bandicoot. I've got Spyro. I've got some of the original Tomb Raiders where the creepy butler follows you around. Like, those are classics you just can't let go of. And even though they tried to redo some of them, it's not the same as the originals.
Unfortunately, yes. There's just something that kind of they miss when it comes to, yes, they make it more, aesthetically better, but they don't.
The nostalgia's gone.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
What's your favorite Crash Bandicoot?
Oh, that's tough. I think I'm just gonna have to go with the original. Like, Crash Warped is really fun, and I really enjoy that one. Crash 2 always made me mad, so I stopped playing it. But I think Crash 1 it's the original, It's when I'm having a day and I'm just having a day, I can sit down and just pull out my old PlayStation and whatever, because they didn't have you couldn't save that one, so I have the codes still like written inside the case. I'll type in the codes that put me at the part of the game that I want to be at, and I'll just play my favorite level.
All right, I think it's time for the colossal question. Let's say they're making a movie about you. Every movie has a soundtrack. What would be the first 3 songs on your movie soundtrack?
Oh, that's easy. I'm a music person, so I've got this. We're gonna open with Motley Crue, Kickstart My Heart, because we're gonna open that movie with that because that's just the vibe I bring to the party, man. Like, it's fast, it's intense, it's fun. We're gonna have a good time.
Hell yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Then I think, hold on, let me open up my Spotify here, because I gotta narrow it down a little bit. I hope this doesn't just start playing. It's funny because it did open up to some Motley Crue. Okay, have you ever heard of Queen Herbie?
Yes, that was originally what was her name? Yes, I know who she is.
Yeah, so there's this song by Queen Herbie that's called 5D, and I love it. She's like, it opens up, and it's like, God, is that you? And she goes, nope, just me, bitch. And it's just like, it just has this fun, empowering vibe to it that talks about, like, people trying to bring you down, but we've regrown. We're up there. We're making our comeback and everything. And then I think the last one I would pick is going to be a complete curveball from where we've been going. Me and Bobby McGee by Janis Joplin, because that was a special song to me. Janis Joplin, I would sing with my grandmother, and it just shows a little bit of the softer side to where, yeah, we've got this fun, intense, like, going on music. We got this empowered music, but now we've got, also we kind of like to sing the blues, and we like to, slow it down a little bit from time to time, to say.
hitting all the genres. I dig it.
I'm like, my iPod goes all over. iPod. I just called it an iPod. My playlist goes all over the place.
No, I could definitely relate with that. Now that we have the soundtrack down, everybody knows you get the soundtrack first, then you write the script, and then you go to casting. Who plays yourself? And you can't say you because you are obligated to make a Stan Lee-esque cameo.
Huh. That's tough because I want to pick somebody based off of personality, but they don't look like me.
That's fine. I mean,
but if it's somebody who I would pick, and then this is gonna surprise you because we were talking about her earlier, being my sworn enemy, but actually I would pick Tiffany Nieves, La Princesa, to play me, because even though we don't look the same, our personalities are so similar. She would nail my vibe. I know she would.
okay. For sure. Now that we have you casted, every movie has a supporting cast. Who would be 3 people with significant meaning to you and your story that would be in your movie, and who would play them?
My grandma would be in it for sure.
Okay.
She is the only person who ever supported every crazy dream I ever had and never once tried to talk me out of it. So I would probably cast. I probably would cast someone who's not like. Actually, I would probably cast like Meryl Streep to play her, because they look similar, and Meryl's a freaking amazing actress, and I know she would nail the fun quirkiness of my grandmother.
And the movie would definitely get nominated for an Academy Award.
See, we're making a great movie here, aren't we?
Right.
I would pick somebody to play Dr. Tom, because that was a pivotal changing point in my life. If I would never have gone there, I would not be where I'm at today. I would not have learned what I've learned, gotten into I don't think I even would have actually fully gotten into wrestling if it wasn't for Dr. Tom. And I feel like he has guided me and helped me so much that I definitely would have to include him in a movie about me, in a biography.
Okay.
It's tough with the 3 main characters. I think the other person, well, every good movie needs a villain, right?
Right.
So I would cast somebody to play my ex. And who is the reason why I wanted to run away and start wrestling to begin with. So yeah, we'd have to have a villain play him, and like make it somebody hot, please. Like, you know, I don't even know who, but make him hot. And yeah, that's it.
Okay, so we're looking at maybe like a Chris Hemsworth or Jason Momoa.
Oh no, he deserves not that hot, okay? He's gotta be attractive, but I don't think like Muscle Man God would represent him either. So it's just
okay.
Oh, maybe like James Franco, you know.
Could Charlie Sheen possibly play this individual?
Charlie Sheen. You think Charlie Sheen's hot?
People thought he was attractive, definitely.
He's like 20 years older than me.
Hey, CGI is a thing. We could make him look younger.
Oh my god. If we could bring back Paul Walker, I'll take it.
There we go.
There we go. We're resurrecting superstars now for my biopic.
Listen, CGI is a thing. We have a limited budget. We could make it work.
Oh, you're funny.
This is sounding like a great movie. A blockbuster to say the least. And you could pre-order the tickets now.
Right, there you go.
Now, onto a controversial subject. Pineapple on pizza. What's your stance?
Oh, I'll do it. Yeah. But it's got to be like, it's got to have a garlic base. It can't have like a tomato sauce because that's not going to clash. But if you've got like a garlic pizza and then you put the pineapple on it, you're sweet and sour, you get a good combination there with the taste palettes.
So it has to be a specific kind of pizza for you to like it.
Yes.
Pineapple on pizza.
Yes. Yeah. It doesn't even need to have ham. You know, you could do like some onions, some pineapple, a little bit of balsamic, some garlic, and make it almost like a white pizza.
Interesting.
Some people are saying this is blasphemy. Some people are like, I'm picking up what you're putting down.
Yes. You've made a lot of new friends and a lot of new enemies.
You gotta have your yin and your yang, you know, and if you can pull that off on one dish, that's amazing. If you got your savory and your sweet in the same bite, it works for the taste palette.
All right. Now, what's your spirit Pokemon?
My spirit Pokemon, that is tough because when I was younger, I was obsessed with Articuno. Like, I loved Articuno. But I also loved Jinx because she had that move. She had the kiss where she would suck your HP while kissing you, and that just gives off vampire vibes, and I'm kind of here for it. She also had the slap. So, you know, I really liked Jinx for my own personal reasons. I liked Articuno because Articuno was pretty and a bird, and I like birds, and was blue, and not even the fact that Articuno is legendary, but just I had a hologram Articuno. But Jinx, she's got her own reasons why I like her. Just, you know, the HP kiss move, that does it for me. Like, if you could kiss someone and take their HP at the same time, you're winning in my book.
So you were hardcore Pokemon. You had the cards.
I have a son, so I did have the cards. I saved my cards, and now my son plays with my Pokemon cards from like 25 years ago.
And now you're thinking, like, does he have any idea how much that card is worth?
I do not let him touch the cards that are worth something. He can have like where you'd get like the same Bullpix 5 times in like 2 packs. He can have that, and he can have like the same 5 trainer energy cards and the same Meowth. He can have all of those. I'm keeping the good ones.
Keeping Charizard. It's funny you bring up Articuno, because that's usually when people ask me that question, it's who I say. But it's purely because of the movie rather than you know, the games. I like to say I pick Articuno because I'm legendary, I like to stay on my island, and I don't like people touching my shit.
Well, Articuno is also ice Pokemon. I think ice Pokemon are cool because they can freeze things.
Right.
So if you can find a way to freeze your enemy, they can't attack you because they're frozen. So I always liked ice Pokemon for that reason. Plus, I'm an Aquarius. And what is more Aquarius than a bluebird that has ice powers? Just saying.
No, we love the late great Tracy Smothers on the show. do you know the acronym for Thug? THUG.
No, I can't say I do.
T is for terrible, H is for hell, U is for ugly, and G is for jail, 'cause a thug can't spell.
Okay.
We love the late great Tracy Smothers, trying to keep the memory alive on the show.
Yes.
Definitely word and ask for Dr. Tom next time you see him.
Okay.
Weirdest question you'll be asked on a wrestling interview, hopefully. Would you ever consider wrestling a Rock? Not Dwayne Johnson, not the country, an actual physical Rock.
Why? I can hear Dr. Tom in my head right now going, what is the purpose behind this?
Well, this Rock is the world champion, so he has the belt. I'm assuming you would want the belt from the Rock.
I think I would probably pass on that one. I think I would pass on that one, because I feel like I can hear Dr. Tom just going over the match study and him being like, why would you do this? And I protecting the character. I think I will politely pass on that opportunity. I'll wait until someone else holds the belt and then I'll go after it.
Well, just for context, there is a wrestler named Psycho Mike that indeed wrestled a Rock for over 15 minutes in a Tungsten Man match. That's an Iron Man match that lasts for 2 weeks.
Oh boy.
Yes. And he did
Good
not...
for him.
He unsuccessfully did not capture that title. So, the belt remains with The Rock.
Oh, well, I guess not good for him then.
On a more serious note, where do you see yourself in 5 years?
That's a question that a lot of people feel like they have the answer to. But the truth is, in this industry, it is so ever changing that you don't really know where you're going to go. So I can't say specifically where I think I will be in 5 years, because I didn't even think I would be where I'm at today. And I'm hoping that something so big and so exciting happens that it's something I could have never even prepared myself for or thought of at this point in my life. So I will answer that by saying, I just hope that I am still working in the entertainment industry and that I am still able to be in front of people, in front of my fans. I am still able to provide them with the enjoyment that they have come to expect out of me.
Okay. And what is a match people should go out of their way to see that best shows off what you are all about as a pro wrestler? One of your matches.
I think there is a match that I had back in January. I had it at Mega Championship Wrestling, and I had a tag team partner there, and it was one of those matches where, you know what, I kind of just got fed up with everything, and I turned on her, and then I proceeded to put a butt whipping on her, and because she was my tag partner, we knew each other's moves, and we ended up having a really good match. And this was after, we're not doing Celeste anymore. We're Chelsea the Mother. We're a little bit edgier these days. We're not putting up with crap anymore. We're not letting people walk all over us, and we're showing that in the ring. And that match is a good, a good way to see that.
Who was your opponent?
Sebastian LaShawn called herself Madam President, but lost the election. So that was a thing. And then expected me to still be there for her. You lost. We're not on the winning team. I'm not doing this anymore. Yeah, so
can we find that on YouTube?
Yes, you can. I think it's Mega Championship Wrestling in January. Well, it was a Thursday, and it was towards the middle of the month. So I want to say, hold on, let me pull up my calendar. It was right before I went to Florida. So either, I want to say January, either 2nd or January 9th. So the beginning of the month, not the middle of the month. One of those episodes, it was towards the end of the show. We were semi, and you can find that match there.
Perfect. And I will scour YouTube for that match and put a link to it in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and Castbox for anybody that hasn't seen it, wants to see it, wants to re-see it after this interview.
Thank you.
And since we are nearing the conclusion of this interview, we are wrestling with the 8 questions of doom. This is our speed round, our bonus round, the round where we see who you really are. Are you ready?
No, I'm going to overthink this whole thing, but I guess let's go.
Excluding yourself, greatest wrestler of all time.
See, I'm already overthinking it because everyone's going to judge me on what I say. I don't know. Greatest wrestler of all time. Undertaker. Next.
Worst wrestler.
I don't know. Everyone's going to judge me. I don't know. Who?
Would you like
James Ellsworth?
I will accept that.
I don't
answer.
like calling people the worst. I don't like it.
I will accept James Ellsworth.
Okay, we'll take that.
Your main.
I had hope.
Your main event in WrestleMania for the World Championship. Who is your opponent?
Oh, Alexa Bliss. That would be a killer match.
Oh yeah, Little Miss Bliss. If you could come out to anyone's entrance music, past or present, who would it be?
Entrance music. There's so much good entrance music. I'll go with Rhea Ripley's because Motionless in White sings her song, Hello.
Oh yeah. Finish the sentence. Kayfabe is...
We're keeping kayfabe. Kayfabe is alive. It exists. It's here.
We would have also accepted taste great on toast.
Okay.
Squash. Vegetable or fruit?
I eat it as a vegetable.
So are we going with vegetable?
Yeah, I'll go with vegetable because it's not full of sugar. I don't care about the seed thing.
So it kind of tells me that you know what it is, but you're still going with what you feel.
100%, yes.
Well, it is indeed.
Because in my heart, it identifies as a vegetable.
But it is indeed a fruit. It does have.
It identifies as a vegetable.
And that makes you a part of Squash Squad, and that means a hell of a lot more.
Yeah.
New Japan wrestler Tai Chi. His ring gear gets smaller every year, revealing more of himself to the world. My question, what is the appropriate trunks to butt cheek ratio for ring gear?
we talking about female wrestling or male wrestling?
Generally speaking.
Because females, you got to get a little bit of the butt cheeks out there, you know? That's part of the glitz and the glam, baby. For the guys, you know what? We'll do it with the guys, too. I want to see a little bit of the cups going on. Like, just, it can go right under the crease. Because I need something to look at, too, you know? You guys don't get it all.
So around 10-20%.
There you go.
All right. And the last question, the main event, the thing everybody wants to know. Have you ever had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about Darby Allin?
Not Darby Allin, but I have had a conversation with a stranger in a supermarket about wrestling.
But Darby's name did not come up.
No, it did not.
And that is the correct answer. And that will conclude this interview. Thank you so much for coming on and doing this with me.
Thank you so much for talking with me tonight. I had a lot of fun. I hope you had as much fun as I did.
Oh.
You're a cool cat, and I hope to see you in Vegas.
I appreciate that. We like to make it interesting for our guests on Wrestling With. Can you tell us once again where we can find you on social media?
Yep, I keep it the same across every single social media, although I do a terrible job keeping up with TikTok because that's just too time demanding. But Chelsea Lyons Clee, LYONSCLE. No, not because of Nikita Lyons. Chelsea Lyons is my real name that I was born with. She stole my name. So Chelsea Lyons Clee. That is all of my social handles. Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, X, whatever you want to call it, TikTok.
All the social medias.
All the social medias.
And you don't have to type it into your Google machine. All of the links to all her social media will be in the description of the video below, but on YouTube and CastBox, simply click the link. A new tab will appear on whatever device you are on. You have no excuse. Give her a damn follow. And when she gets merchandise, buy a damn shirt.
I love it. We're getting them soon. I just, was making the transition between Celeste to the mother, and I just wanted to make sure I had everything locked in before I spent money on shirts. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I get it. Fire up that Pro Wrestling's T account.
Yes.
Of course, thank you for listening. If you like what we're doing, please like, subscribe, comment, but on YouTube and CastBox. This was sponsored by Rogue Energy and Player One Coffee. Join us next Tuesday and Wednesday for new incredible interviews, and follow the show at Wrestling with E, both on X, Thread, and Instagram. Follow me personally at JamesJ993. Alright, when I say Wrestling With, you say entertainment, okay?
Mm-hmm.
For our special guest, Chelsea the Mother, Kaliko Yacht, Scooter Dust, I'm James J, and this has been Wrestling With
Entertainment, baby.
Hey folks, this is the Colossal Mike Law, and you are listening to Wrestling with Entertainment. Enjoy the show, support these guys. We appreciate it very much. We'll see you at ringside.